gentlemen, this is Ben back with you in the Midwest Model Shop. Alright, today we are releasing our Titanic Bridge Set for the 1/200 scale Trumpeter Titanic. Let's get a couple things out of the way. First of all, I will begin working on my Titanic again officially. Well, more in this video I'm working on it, right? I'm working on it right now. But officially we'll get back to finishing my build after I finish my Enterprise. I know a bunch of you keep asking, that's what it's going to be. I know some of you don't believe that there are any other models in the world than the Titanic. I understand that, but that's not totally accurate. Okay, so what we have here is a direct... Oh, one other thing. Very, very important. Any orders placed on the shop, and this is on the homepage, October 3rd through October 17th will not ship until at least October 21st. Why? I need a vacation. We're taking a break. So if you place an order, and feel free to place an order, we really do appreciate everyone who goes to our shop, www.themidwestmodelshop.com. Links in the description down below. Link to this is down below. The 3rd through the 17th, if you place an order, then it will not ship until at least the 21st of October. Again, this is on our homepage. Okay, so what do we have here? I've had a request for a bridge set that was made out of resin, a few people, so we're able to get one together here. This is meant to be a direct kit replacement part, meaning that you take the kit bridge and you don't use it, and you take this bridge and you drop it into place. And that is how it fits. It drops right into place. Now, along with it, obviously you get the bridge. We've got bridge cabinets, course boards, helm indicator, hydrometer cabinet, the Morse lamps that go on the top, your watertight door controls, you got some life rings, obviously the storm shields, and yeah, I think that's about it. Those are the key things. If you have aftermarket parts from other places that you want to use, if you have kit parts that you want to use, you can supplement them in here with this. It's just kind of an optional thing. So what we're going to do in this video, this is a little longer. Please watch it if you're interested in purchasing these. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to remove the bridge carefully from the sprue. I strongly recommend you get a hot knife. A hot knife is a soldering iron that has an X-Acto blade in the end that heats up. If you have that, this will go very quickly and smoothly, and you probably won't break anything. The little teeny tiny parts on the inside are designed to easily come out. You have multiples of everything because they're small, and there's a good chance you could lose it. So we have extras of them in there for you. This fits real nicely. You'll see all that. Paint. So I'm going to go ahead and paint up my demo here, and I realize that these are just for demonstration purposes. I realize that some of you were actually on the Titanic. You were part of the building crew. You're really old now. That's because you just did fish oil, and I understand that. And you took digital photographs of everything, and you know exactly what color everything was, and everyone else is wrong. I got that. This is just for demonstration purposes. But I am going to show you all of the paint that I used. Briefly here, I primed with Tamiya XF2, or sorry, yeah, Tamiya white primer, and then I went over the whole thing with Tamiya XF2, the flat white, so that's like the primary color of everything, and then I used mostly AK paints after that. Those will be shown here now. You can take a good look at those, and then you know, you can paint this ship up however you want. So now what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and get into taking this apart, doing a little how you take it apart in a painting demo, and then we'll take a look at it on the ship. Also, very, very important, because this is a direct kit replacement part, there is no accounting for a wooden deck and how that all fits. I'll make a couple comments about that down the road, but I cannot assume you all have a wooden deck. I can assume you all have the kit deck, though, because you do, and this will fit on there. Again, this is a direct replacement part for the kit bridge. You will have to fill in some holes. You'll see that, but you know, if you're going down this road, I think you're probably ready for that type of thing anyway. I'll share a few of my thoughts about that at the end of the video. Thank you everyone who subscribes to us on Patreon, your contributions there. Thank you to everyone who goes to our shop, makes a purchase. We really do appreciate it very much. Okay, I hope you like this. Feel free to like and subscribe, comment down below. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this now. Alright folks, so this is what you'll receive, a nice little package like So if we flip it around, I'm calling this the back. You can see in here you have your bridge, and then you have an assortment of parts that we've included and a little clear piece. If you reach in here and yank this out, this is your navigation lights. You need 2, so there's 4 in there. Hopefully you can understand it's got this little protective thing. You need to cut away this edge to get access to those parts. Alright, so what you want to do is remove your spare parts, your extra pieces that we're going to add to this thing, and then we need to expose just the bridge so that we can remove it. So the little protective sides kind of just work like everything else that I've built, or I'm trying to keep them that way. Go ahead and cut the corners here to get everything loose. And then if you're at the back, go ahead and just start down low here and make little snips to get this stuff free. When you're in the W and the M area here where these parts are at, maybe come up top to be careful. We want to be just like that. I want to make sure that I don't accidentally snap off or damage one of those pieces. They'll be fine. There should be enough room, but just a word of caution, that's all. And like that, you're getting close. So at this point, just go ahead and carefully work your way around the model until you have all of this stuff. You want all of this out of the way, all right? Okay, so now we've got all of our parts exposed. So what I want to do now is get my little pieces out of here. And you could do this from the bottom. Just go ahead and carefully take a knife and score right along here, this edge and this edge and up here, or you could reach in there with your cutters. And on this back edge, you'll have to give it a little snip. So now you have all of your little individual parts, and I've finally figured out kind of the recipe for getting everything on a nice individual base that you can hold, and it's easy to separate. You could score or cut apart everything here, but this, with the exclusion of this little tub that's unnecessary now, you have all of your parts. And so you need 1 bell, so there's 4 bells. We've got the bridge cabinets. We already talked about our navigation lights. Let's see, we've got some course boards, the helm indicator, the hydrometer cabinet, life rings, the Morse lamps, that's these things on the top. And then the WTD controls, those are in there. That's the watertight door controls also. And so there's many of each thing because they're small. But let's go ahead and set this aside for right now. So looking at our bridge, it's basically set up to just have the supports be cut away. Right away, I want to point out that these little arms up here, they're fragile. I put the least number of supports on here that I can, but you really, really want to watch out when removing them. Also on the back, our little stands right here, they are very fragile. The ones that are up inside under kind of the water board or the standing board right in here, those have been reinforced from behind. They're much more rigid, but you can't see that support, so it works out nicely. So what we have to do though is go about removing this, and the best way to do that, you can use cutters and be careful, but as you can see up here, it's really, really tight, and that, I apologize about this microscopic clearance. You could just take a regular hobby blade, and if you just kind of score along here, you'll cut those loose. But really what you should have is a hot knife. And again, from the beginning, the hot knife is just a soldering iron with an X-Acto knife blade in it that's been heated up. You can see how it's changing colors. This is very inexpensive. I've gotten one. I got this on Amazon, and it was actually given to me by someone who bought extra, and I can't remember your name, sir, but I really do appreciate it. So if you just take this and carefully drag it along here, you're going to take this thing loose. That's all fine and dandy until you get to some of these little detail areas where you need to be careful. And what I like to do is, once I cut it away from the main part, make sure you remove that entire piece so that it doesn't flip and get caught up in everything else. So now we'll move on here to the back. So for example, like this stanchion here, I'm going to carefully cut it. There's 4 back here. And then I really need to get that piece out of the way. That way, now, as long as I'm careful, let's see if we can trim that off right there. As long as I'm careful, I won't bust these. And I can come back in here now and run my knife along this edge. Slow and steady wins the race here. That's how you're going to get things loose. So now so now let's see here. It would be ideal, and I'm sorry this wasn't easy to do, to cut this here. You could get this out of the way, but I think it would be all right. So these pieces up here, just go ahead and then you can come down. You can just use your cutters and get them out of the way. But now you've got this piece, so sticking out in the air, just please be careful with that. And that will allow us to come up in here, cut those. So now in the inside here, these stanchions are a little bit tight and tough to get to. I'm sorry, that was out of view. You can see down in here with a knife, you want to go down and just give these a cut so that they're loose. Same thing over here on this side. Reach down in. We can worry about doing an exact cut and cleaning them up later. You just want this whole thing to come loose, and you can do this easily with that hot knife. Okay? And let's keep working our way around. Again, on this side, we have these little fragile stanchions. If you have a razor saw, you could just run the razor saw along the bottom here to cut these away and remove the whole thing that way. Then you could come back with your cutters and snip when this is all loose, and those, instead of there being pressure, against this base, these little supports could go down and break away, and then you'd be good to go there. Also an option. But this is, I hope that you could see that by utilizing this hot knife, it just makes things super simple. And I want to take like this stanchion and I want to tip it away and cut it. Tip it away and cut it so that when it goes sailing, it doesn't damage or break off my little part. But it's out of the way. And now I can make sure my hot knife has removed everything. Okay. Same again with like right here on the end. Do a little cut. Cut down here if you want, and then it's out of the way. And that's it. It's free and loose. Okay, so now at this point, I would like to remind you to unplug the hot knife with the razor sharp X-Acto blade in it that's heated up alarmingly hot so that you don't burn yourself. Now we have to do some cleaning up. Flip it over and take a look at the bottom down here. So right here, for example, these little nubs on those stanchions. We don't need that anymore, and you could just use your cutters. Make sure the flat side's up. Give it a little snip. Get those out of the way, and then you've got some on the other side here as well. Well, that one's ready to come off. This one needs a little snip. Get that out of the way. Okay, we're looking good. So now you just have all of these little areas that need to be sanded and cleaned up. So you can use, I like this file because it lasts a long time, obviously, or you could use a sanding stick. But it's going to be important to come along here and get all of these little nubs just smoothed off nicely, because this sits on the deck of the kit, and if it's not flat, I mean, this little fragile part that I'm supporting my fingers doesn't matter, it gets glued up above to the roof of the I guess the deck house here, the bridge house the steering's at. But like on this level, these little bumps need to go away. You just want to smooth it off a little bit. It doesn't take a lot. Just go ahead and get that cleaned off. When you do the back, be careful, because see our super tiny microscopic looking little supports? You don't want to lose those. So just be careful how you go about and what angle you have when you clean these up. Use your fingers, support what you're doing, don't do it in front of a camera, and you'll have good luck. Alright, so we're going to continue on sanding this whole thing all the way around so that we get a nice flat even surface here on the front. Okay, press it on. Alright, back with you. So I've gone ahead and primed this and given this thing a coat of Tamiya flat white. And the same thing with all of our parts here, except for obviously the clear parts. So there's two little areas I want to talk about first before we get going here. So your little, I forget what they're called, navigation things or whatever, these parts right here, you get 4 of them. They go on top of the kit. So you can see we've got a nice little hole there. You can use the 3D parts that I made. You can use your photo etch aftermarkets that you have. You could use your kit parts, but you may need to drill that hole out, is what I'm getting at. The next item that I wanted to talk about briefly here, where are they? Right here. These are the bells. Let me flip them over so they look like bells. Right in the end, you get 4 of them. Right? And they're really teeny tiny. So, the bell mounts right there front and center. That hole is very small, especially now that I have painted it. What I'm probably going to do is take a little piece of brass wire, a very small piece, drill a little hole so that it sticks into, where'd they go here, the top of one of my bells, and then stick it in here. But if you want to use the kit part or an aftermarket bell or something else, you may need to drill that hole out so that it works. So that's my point. It's there for you, but you need to figure out what you want to use there. Alright, so that's it. Let's go ahead and start painting some stuff up. Alright, I'm basically done with all the painting I plan on doing for this demo. It's just a demo. It's not perfect at all, but we'll show all the colors when I'm done here. So what I want to do is start putting some things on. So let's start down here with the navigation light. So these are the clear parts, and I don't have transparent green, but I just slapped some brass on the top and bottom and the transparent part. There's kind of like a little cutout. I'm going to put that down if one was to try to feed a little microscopic kind of like a LED line or a fiber optic tube into there. They might be able to get some lighting. So let's go ahead and do this. Apply a little bit of CA glued in here. All right, we'll stick that on there like that. We'll call that one good. And now do the other side, which is green. Oh, there's a green nav light. Okay, let's do some of these things inside. I think what we'll start off with is the storm doors that I ended up painting like this. Really, the outside edge of this should be white, and that little lever should just be white on top that's like holding it in. It's the clamp, but I'm kind of in a hurry. So for some reason, these kind of look like cookie treats or something like that. So I've looked at pictures where the storm doors are just under these forward windows. And then I've seen them where they're also on the side here. There's enough to do all of them and a spare, or you could just do the front. Whatever you think is appropriate. The only comment I have really is that the one on the far edge, the latch kind of bumps up against the wall and prevents it from sitting perfectly plumb under the window. That's this one on the inside. So you might want to sand that edge a little bit if you care. I don't think that from here when you're done you won't see it, and then your perspective from here looking in there is going to be hard to tell. So I don't know how much time and energy I would put into that, but we'll get these wrapped up here. Alright, those are all in. Now over here I'm going to put in the hydrometer cabinet, and it's I'll put it up here so you can see. It has little feet as if it were on the floor, and so the top's not painted, and that's because I had to print it upside down. So once it's in place, I will go ahead and touch it up. Now, before any of you come completely unglued, this was for sure nailed to the wall right here on the Olympic. I have pictures of it, but we do not know, or at least my understanding is, we're not totally sure if it was on Titanic. Maybe they didn't care about hydrometers. I don't know. Or maybe it was in another room, right? And they had it sitting on the floor up against the wall. I don't know. But it's here as an optional part, right? We can stick it in there. Also, I don't remember. I think this is a folding table or a drop-down table. I don't know if it was if it was white. But I painted them brown on both sides because in the reference pictures I have, it kind of looks like it's a different color. Some people painted them. I don't know. This is for illustrative purposes only, right? So that's our hydrometer cabinet. All right, next up on our little list of things to do here is going to be I believe, I got it right here, is the course board. And, you know, I painted it brown, like that it was made out of wood. I don't know if that's right. Yeah, but we'll put it here. So we'll leave it in there like that. Now we know the course, right? Because it's on a board. All right, so under that, I'm going to put in the quote-unquote mystery cabinet. I guess there's a lot of... I guess people have gotten a little fired up about this little box. They don't really know what it was for, is my understanding. I think it's a suggestion box by the crew, but what do I know? So we'll go ahead and I'm just going to get it set in here for now so you get the idea. It goes right there. And then to the right of it here, what is that, our helm indicator? Yes, our helm indicator. And the helm indicator, okay, I made a little mistake. The helm indicator goes up here. Right here's the water type door control. So you can see I made a little mess there. So I popped that off. This I also painted brown, although it was probably made of brass. So you can make it brass. But just because it was brass doesn't mean that it was left brass. I don't know. Again, you just have to ask one of the people who were there, and like I said, they took pictures of everything and they know. perfectly what every color was. All right, and then we'll get our helm control up at the top. All right, helm control. And this is these tiny little parts. That's why there's a bunch of them. I don't think you'll mess them up. I think, like me, with them flying all over the place, you might lose one. So I slapped all this paint on all of them at once, so if I lose one, I could just cut off another one and try again. Alright. So, that's what we've got so far, those little accoutrements for the bridge. And then if you have, your own kit parts or your aftermarket parts or something you want to stick in there instead, you can go ahead and do that. So the only thing left here, we've got our Morse lamps. They go up on top of the little roofs right here. We have the ship's bell. We're going to have to talk about that. There's 4 of them, teeny tiny. And then we have life preservers. These, I primed them white, and as you can see, the center is a slightly different color. That's an insignia white, just to give it some sort of differentiation. That's kind of the thought there. All right, the next thing I want to talk about here is the ship's bell, and here it is, teeny tiny. You get 4 of them, and it goes right here, and there is a tiny hole there to mark the spot. This is for your reference. Now you can just take this thing and glue it to the front. You can glue in your photo etch aftermarket part. You could use kit parts. You could do whatever you want, but the reference hole is there. What I'm going to do, so I have some very small brass wire. See that? And it is this size, 0.08 of an inch. So I have a teeny tiny little, I don't remember what number, drill bit here. There you go. And I'm going to go ahead and remount this hole a little bit. Just give myself a little bit of real estate. Okay, that's all it took, was this tiny little bit. Now, I want to drill a hole in my brass bell, and I'm going to do this with my fingers off camera because you'll never see it, but what I'm going to do, I'm not going to drill a hole through the top. I'm going to go right up through the center of the bottom, and then I'll take my little brass wire and I'll put a little kink in it and I'll feed it up through the bottom, so that this thing doesn't fall off. So let me go ahead and get this drilled out real quick. Alright, there's my little hole. Here's my little brass rod with the little angle in it. I'm trying to do this, the camera's in the way and I'm reaching around everything. It goes in like that. There you go. And it even might look like you got a little bell banger there. So now I'm just going to bend a 90 in this thing, right, and put a little CA glue in, and we can install it in the ship right there. All right, and I would leave it long so it's easy to do. Poke it right in, there's the bell. And we'll go ahead, I'll put a little CA glue on the back, snip that off, and we're good to go. Okay, so now that that's set, here we go with the kit bridge deck, or boat deck rather, and like I said, this is a part that's meant to replace the kit part, right? So basically, it is going to drop a little snug. It's going to drop right in like that. Now you can see that there's a couple holes here. Those are for the kit parts. I'm not taking into account a wooden deck. That may be something you need to work around, but these, because they fit tight, you might have to bend them in just a little bit to keep them square. But if we flip it over, I think you can see, with the exception of maybe right there, you can push that in a little bit if you want. It's a very snug and accurate fit, and we'll worry about our nav lights after I'm done screwing around here. And then if you take the officers' quarters and everything and the roof and you click it on there, it fits. All the little parts, we're good to go. Put that down like that, like so. That's the idea, right? So like I said, I'm not taking into account a wooden deck. That is a wild card here. And this is just a quick thought process on that. On my build, to make sure that if you're using all the kit parts, like this officer's deck, it needs to sit on the kit plastic part, which means you need to remove the wood. You can remove the wood everywhere that this bridge sits, and it'll sit down just fine. The only potential issue are the supports, the little teeny tiny supports on the back here. But they're raised a little bit, and I think they'll be okay. I think you'll work around that. So anyway, this is the idea. You're supposed to end up with a really nice looking bridge like this with a minimal amount of effort, and you'll be good to go. So what I'll do, even though it's a mess, I'm going to glue on our little Morse lamps on the top right here, and I'm going to set this whole thing on my Titanic so we could just take a gander at it. No, my Titanic is not done, obviously, but here we go. Okay, so here's the bridge on my ship, and you know, it's just there. It looks good, I think. You've got the little bell to scale, you've got all the little details, your light, we've got our Morse lamps on there. Push this down where it's supposed to be. It all fits correctly. It is a direct kit replacement part. That is the whole of this thing right here. So I guess if you have any questions, leave them down below. Please remember the note on the home page about shipping. If you order after, I think, October, what did I say, 3rd or 4th there, you're not going to get your order until mid-month because we're taking a break. But yeah, I think this is a nice addition to the ship. I think it could save you time. If you don't want to do the photo etch, which I do recommend the photo etch, this will take care of you and save you some time and give you some options. All right, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.